Firstly, I would like to thanks for AHRC, and I actually the subject is very important because this is directly related to government and peoples. Torture is a very important. I accept in my country also use of torture in treatment is widespread like many other countries of Asia. Of course, the level of torture low or high depending on the law and order. In our country, some NGOs, UN also working in this field. For example, recently report released by THR Third Alliance on torture. Torture is noted in several districts in Tarai region in Nepal. Another example, the recent report released by the Advocacy Forum titled Promoting Development Persistent Trends. Trends and patterns of the torture in Nepal in 2013 confirm that torture is being practiced systematically in Nepal. Out of 3,662 interviewed, and 16.7% claimed that they had been subjected to torture. In Asia context, one side there is challenge to maintain law and order, and other side is to decrease trend to torture. It is difficult to balance between two. There is a lack of resource in Nepal, a poor LDC resulting in less funding for investigational, policing and technique for the police. As such, the use of harsh treatment during the interrogation appears to the only method to obtain such information. There is such a general tendency, even though there are reports in the media of the torture by the private actors, domestic abuse, torture based on allegation of witchcraft torture of children in school. But the state is held less accountable for the such action because it is the difficult to end. Lip service is the paid to educated police or military. Setting up the Nepal police human rights cells etc. is effective, but more training and awareness to the police and military personnel required, which I hope will give positive result in future. I would like to inform you that we had introduced anti-torture bill in the last parliament, but unfortunately it did not pass because the parliament get dissolved on 27 May 2012. Now we have new parliament, so we are trying our best to introduce the new bill in anti-torture in the parliament. The proposed anti-torture bill meets the international standard. In present situation, we have Torture Compensation Act, which has been used widely by the torture victim to get justice. There is prevalent view among the politicians that democracy development are like the two wheels of cart, and ruling party and the opposition party play a key role in the determination of the policy in the mutual issues such as the need to provide security within the framework of law. And finally, this discussion I will be feel very well because Nepal situation is very good. Comparatively Pakistan, Bangladesh, but I agree change in government to some policy. We can change policy, but we cannot change in intention. This is main problem. Thank you.
Most status quo society in South Asia, that's what I can say, because it is like a pond water, not river water. At least in Pakistan you have army, some kind of changes, democratic movement can be seen there. In Nepali context, it's a very stable, but the discrimination is inbuilt in it, in its structure. And I can give you example. In our interim constitution, the preamble of our interim constitution says that there are 4 kind of discriminations: on the basis of caste, on the basis of gender, on the basis of geography, and on the basis of race, ethnicity. So it is in the preamble of our constitution. So constitution has accepted these 4 kind of discriminations, and the purpose of the constitution is to eliminate that discrimination. So I can say, like one of my lawyer, British lawyer, he worked in 3 years in Nepal, and last month he left Nepal, saying me that, no, I don't want to work anymore in Nepal, I want to go Pakistan. And I said, why do you want to go? Because you are the most status quo people, you don't want to change. So that's what I can say to you. Yes, we are never colonized, but never free as well. This is our dilemma. The India decide everything, every time. It was before the British and now India. So we never colonized and never free. And we are in a process to make 6 constitution, and our 5 constitution, you can see the 4 common element of you can see the 4 common characteristics of 5 constitution we have earlier. First is Hinduism, that's the first characteristic of our constitution. Second is like a single identity, it's like a hill identity, like I don't see like Nepali, I'm like an Indian, anybody can say me, oh you look like a, because they projected one identity. Third is monarchy, and 4th is the unitary state. So these are the 4 characteristics of our constitution, past 5 constitution. We recently came out of direct conflict, like a Maoist versus state, but now we have multiple conflict, which is not like a visible and direct, like a so-called higher caste versus Dalit, Hindu versus Muslim, hill people versus people in the plain. So different type of conflict, mini conflict is going there. That's why our first constituent assembly failed, and now in the second, and we are expecting third as well. Difficult to expect constitution from it. And so we are in the transition, and transition from these 4 elements to now secularism, republican, federalism, multi-identity, and inclusion. So we are in transition to change the basic characteristics of constitution, which I see like a very difficult. I saw the news yesterday, the Hindu fundamentalists are making group like a paramilitary forces to have not to have secularism in the constitution. And I'm very frank to say that our Nepali state is become now manpower state. We call it manpower state. Our work is to supply the labor to Gulf country. Every day 2,000 youths go to the Gulf country. So now Nepal is left with the old, women and children. No young. How can we do it? Yes, I agreed with you that mass protest, but we don't have youth. Who will do the mass protest? This is a big question to us. Yeah. Our like 25% of GDP is from the remittance, and we call it coffin remittance. Every day, coffin. Every day we receive some dead body, and we also receive bunch of money with the dead body. So it's like a dead body with money. And the big problem, I agreed, mass protest. We have many mass protests, but all the mass protests ends in few elites in power, no structural change. So that it's also difficult to say that mass protest always leads to our change. So this is like a basic information for Nepal. I want to go about the like a torture. There are many reasons of tortures. I don't want to details. We are going to publish report very soon. But the few reasons yes, definitely election system. For the bigger political party, like we have home minister now, from UML party, and his main intention is to put all the police officers in the border area so that he can collect money and later on give the money to the party so that they can win in the next election. So torture is directly related. We see like in many times, it's a torture is often give for the taking money. So we call it and the police post is basically to silence the political dissent, political opponents by the ruling parties. The bribery, confession, extracting information, and sometimes even for nepotism, we find this kind of practice of torture in our context. And the most important thing is that torture, the highest rate of torture is found in the minority community, like the Muslim. In Hindu-dominated society, the highest percentage of torture the Muslim face in Nepali society. We have that report. So it's like a tool by the ruling towards minorities also. So these are some of the reasons of torture we see in our and again I can say we have democracy without Democrats, and I already explained yesterday that we call PN, Permanent Establishment of Nepal, who runs everything like army, police, bureaucracy, business community, courts and media, similar like in Bangladesh. The media are like a pro-state media. We call it creator of truth. They create truth. If they want to defame your character, they can easily do that. So it's difficult to find and one unique thing we have, I can say you, it's a civil society. Civil society is a supra power in our context and more status quo than the politician and government. This is the big dilemma we have. We have the example, the big human rights organization, which is popular in the world. The chairperson is also contested for the chairperson of one big party. So you can see the overlapping in the civil society. So that is also the problem we have in civil society. So we see civil society like a more status quo towards a carrying weight of human rights, carrying weight of civil society, but ultimately serving to the power elites. Yes, internal challenges we have to eliminate torture is who will speak? Can we imagine the parliamentarian to speak about torture in the parliament? No way. If we'll do that, the army, in the election time, the police, the media, no. They can't speak in the parliament. If we speak, we can easily defame. So it's a threat that people can't directly speak about the torture. Second, insufficient resource. We have not only human rights organization, but to do all, they see it as an NGO work, if we'll do that. And NGO in our society don't have much respect. Lack of political will, lack of public, a lack of progress. If you pick up one case, we pick up one case in 2007, and there is no progress in 7 years. So lack of progress also discourages the people to go ahead for justice. Yes, we don't have an independent police mechanism who can monitor the police actions, and restricted information. Yes, we have Torture Compensation Act, which treat torture as a civil offense, not torture is not a criminal in Nepal, and we are trying to get a new law which is called Torture and Ill Treatment Compensation Act, but still there are a lot of problem in the acts, and we don't see any chance to pass. Very frankly, in the first year we tried a lot, but it got dissolved. In second also, it's a long way to go. Now I want to talk something about the actors which was signed during our comprehensive peace agreements. It was there was a clause that said that there will be police reform, security sector reform, SSR, but that did not happen in our context. We have quasi-judicial power, the administrative chief can easily put you in prison for 7 years for the public disturbance. We have that Public Offence Act, Arms Elimination Act, that also result in torture in our case. And definitely the nexus between police, political parties and attorney. Attorney in our a public prosecutor, the term we want to take the public out of just prosecutor, because the purpose of the public prosecutor in our context generally is to what is evidence is collected by police just to defend that, not to like doing cross-examination and all this stuff. And since the judiciary, now we have 7 new judges in our Supreme Court, and that like ultimately killed the independence of judiciary in our context, because all the media, they wrote that okay, 5 crore was paid, the judges are from the certain political parties, and despite lot of criticism, they were appointed. So now we can't expect the judicial review in our context, because the Chief Justice was also earlier the head of executive. So the judicial review becomes subject of like a joke in our context nowadays. NHRC, yes, very good. I congratulate our friend to propose the NHRC in Pakistan. You can have, but we have very bad experience of having NHRC. It's like a tiger without tooth. You can't do anything with NHRC. So it's good to have, but substantive result it's difficult to find. Yes, military is not like in army. We want our army to come visibly rule us, because they are ruling us invisibly, everything. But it's not direct, but they influence everything. And definitely now there is a competition in political parties to show more loyalty to New Delhi, to get into power. So what I can say, the more things change in our context, the more remain the same. That's why Nepal is under, like, it's not impotent. It's from when you see from the outside, but when you go inside, the scene is totally different. Yes, for your information also, like we have 70% Marxist population. 70%. The Nepal is like a leftist country, you can say, the majority of voters. But Marxism for them is just like carrying one identity. It's like we call Mahendrism. Like they don't follow the philosophy. They want to maintain power of one higher caste from the hill. So this is also the problem. And the 16% population rule the more than 80% population. So all the police officers, all the administrative, all the judges, it's from one community, you can see. My last point, yes, is the change possible in our context? And I would like to respond from our parliamentarian from Bangladesh. Yes, revolution, but we have bad experience of revolution. We had 14 years fight by Maoists, and we see the counter revolution. So sometimes we realize whether revolution or evolution, which one is better for us. It's difficult to say. Because if there is a delay in institutionalizing revolution, the counter-revolution movement can easily be seen. And that's what we have been facing. And it's a long way to depower the hierarchical relationship. And I think the intervention is at 3 levels. To eliminate even torture, which has like inbuilt in our structure. There's a macro level, meso level, and micro level. At all 3 levels, we need the equal. And there is no quick fix solution. It's a long-term struggle to eliminate torture, and definitely that needs the political will and political approach. No technical solution can solve this problem. Thank you very much.